Let's paint a watercolor turkey. Every year around Thanksgiving, I paint a turkey bird, and last year it was a brown one. This time, I wanted us to paint a gorgeous fluffy white bird with some intricate feather details. We'll need some blue, indigo, red, and maybe burnt sienna, a couple of round brushes in size 3 or 4, and maybe a very small one in size 0 or 00. And I'm going to use this as an opportunity to test some new watercolor paper. This is cold pressed cotton from Winsor & Newton, 140 pounds. And I already like it a lot because it's bright white compared to more milky color of my regular Arches paper. This is going to make my turkey really stand out, but we'll see how the paper actually performs when I start applying my watercolors. And I'm sketching the outline using a very hard 3H pencil, extremely light graphite, just enough to give me some guidance, but not too harsh, so I won't need to erase too much. You always want to avoid erasing on watercolor paper because it really interferes with your layers later on. And the reference photo is linked in the video description if you want to try this on your own, maybe for a Thanksgiving card or just another watercolor practice. And the first layer is going to be just a soft underpainting using 2 complementary colors. I'm going to start with blue and then follow up with some shades of orange. And the reason why you want to start with this underpainting before doing the details is to capture the shadows. And let me explain why this is important. So we know the main color of the bird is white, but white objects have some dimension and shadow, so it's important to capture them. Otherwise, everything is going to look flat and lifeless. And the way you want to do it is identify the direction of light first. Here it's coming from the top right, more or less. And then do a subtle glaze on the bottom left, leaving the highlights without any color. So the white of your paper serves as a true white in your painting. I recommend using non-granulating blue, like the phthalo blue for cooler shadows. You can also add some purple if you want, and maybe burnt sienna or very light brown for warmer shadows, and keep your colors very diluted throughout. Quick note on the paper, I really like it so far. It's allowing me to create seamless blends, but let's see how it behaves with extra layers of paint. Now, once everything is dry, we can start working out the details using wet on dry technique, meaning I'm going to apply wet paint to dry paper. And I'll start here and work towards something like this, which is not the final step, but very close to how I want it to look. We'll need one more layer of detail after that. And I'm going to use another round brush in size 2, this time only applying the paint with the tip, essentially using it more like a pencil or a pen to capture these very distinct spots of darker color, starting with the tail. And notice that as I move down to the next cascade of feathers, I'm going to change the way I hold my brush and position it against the paper, and it will help me capture the natural silhouette that we can observe on the feather tips. You can see how my hand is almost resting on paper now, and my brush is placed at about 45-degree angle. So for every feather, I begin the stroke by placing the tip of my brush on paper, then apply a little bit more pressure to get a thicker line, and I drag it up or down, creating like a moon-shaped silhouette. Then I'll switch back to only using the tip of my brush again, where the coloring is more sparse and where I only need to leave a few dark lines on the feather tips, and I'll keep going until I reach all the way to the right. Now, this process can be intimidating. The patterns are quite intricate, so I recommend starting with more diluted color. This way, if you make a mistake, you can always lift it with a clean, damp brush. And I'm using indigo instead of pure black because it looks less harsh and more natural to me. If it dries out looking too light, you can always come back and double down on some of the strokes, making certain areas look a little bit darker. And the final step is our opportunity to really bring it all together with some finishing touches. And I'm starting with this look, and by the end, we will end up with much more definition and detail. The first thing I'm going to do is add some deeper shadows on the tail feathers. I think it's the most beautiful part of the bird, and it's getting a little bit lost against the white background. So I don't want to leave it looking flat with very minimal definition. And I will use my transparent phthalo blue again to accentuate some of the shadows even further, maybe even add some extra texture. I'm also going to glaze extra shadows all over the body, again being very mindful of the way light falls and the fact that we have darker areas on the left and certain feather clusters are more pronounced than others and have deeper shadows. I'm going to use the same phthalo blue and burnt sienna, just glazing it very lightly to build depth and definition. And at this point, my verdict is clear. This paper is excellent. The drying time is very similar to my typical Arches or Arche paper. The colors don't fade. Everything looks very vibrant even after it's dry. And it also has slightly less grain compared to my regular paper. Just feels less textured, so my brush is gliding over these segments with ease. I highly recommend this paper if you're looking for high quality watercolor cotton surface. And finally, using my smallest brush, this is Escoda Chronos in size 00, I will add extra details on the head of the bird. Here I want to focus especially on the eye and all the interesting wrinkles around the neck. Just a few finishing touches left and the bird is done. Now I'm debating whether to add a background, so let me know in comments below if you would add a splash of color or leave it white. If you have a color recommendation in mind, let me know. As always, thank you for watching and painting with me. Next week, as promised, we'll be back to regular programming and paint another fall scene featuring a squirrel.